courage. Republicans will control the chamber.
Today, Nevada chose hope over fear.
Congresswoman Bachmann, are you hypnotized tonight?
Our children deserve to inherit the greatest society in all of human history.
And this means that Speaker Nancy Pelosi is no longer going to be the Speaker.
Today on TimesCast, the results are in. We have reports from Washington, Las Vegas, and Chicago.
I'm Cheryl Gay Stolberg reporting from Capitol Hill. Republicans swept the House. What does it mean for President Obama's agenda?
This is Adam McGurney reporting from Las Vegas. The Democrats held on to the Senate, and Senator Harry Reid won re-election here in Nevada.
I'm Monica Davey reporting from Chicago. Republicans won an overwhelming number of governor's races around the country. I'll explain what this means for redistricting and for Obama's chances in 2012.
And how much influence will the Tea Party have on Capitol Hill?
We've come to take our government back.
Republican leaders arrived on Capitol Hill this morning triumphant from their election night victory on Tuesday. I went to Speaker John Boehner's suite in the Capitol where a throng of reporters awaited him. He said it was going to take some time for Republicans to pursue their agenda and figure it out, but he did say that they would begin laying the groundwork to repeal what he called this monstrosity of a health care bill, and also to put in place spending cuts. For President Obama, it will be tough sledding from here on out. He's going to face the prospect of a divided Congress with Republicans in control of the House and Democrats in control of the Senate, and that will make it that much harder for him to pursue his agenda. White House officials do see some areas of potential compromise on education legislation and also reducing the deficit and trade bills. Republicans could face some complications as well. You know, President Obama still has the veto power, and he can overrule any attempt to undo his health care bill. One big question is whether Republicans will try to hack away at the bill by gumming up the works through the appropriations process and stopping its provisions from going into effect. That could result in Washington gridlock, which is exactly what the voters don't want.
It was not a good night for the Democrats last night, except perhaps here in Nevada, where Senator Harry Reid, the four-term incumbent, won a fifth term. He was one of the top targeted Democrats for the Republican Party this year.
Because of you, we did it. Thank you.
How did he do it? Well, one thing was Sharon Angle. She was in many ways a flawed candidate out of the political mainstream here on issues like Social Security. She supported phasing it out. But also he had a get out the vote operation, which I think tells us something about what's going to happen in 2012 with President Obama. They began building it with President Obama in 2008, and Harry Reid has been building it ever since. The get out the vote operation sure seems to have worked last night. Returns suggest he might have won by as many as 5 points. For President Obama, looking for any good news going forward, that is a glimmer of hope as he thinks about 2012 and winning this state again.
Republicans won governor seats across the country, including in areas like this in the Midwest, which are considered political battlegrounds. This is likely to have a pretty significant impact on something that legislators and others are about to launch into, which is redistricting. Once every 10 years, we remake the maps that make up our congressional districts, our state legislative districts, and governors in many cases have a big role in that. This is also important as we look to 2012. If you have a governorship, you tend to have a pretty strong political infrastructure that can help candidates when they're trying to run. So as President Obama looks to 2012, he's going to be sorry to have lost states like Ohio, where there was a Democratic governor and now there's not, Wisconsin, Michigan. These are all political battlegrounds that he's going to want to have lost. The other thing that comes out of last night, I think, is that you've got a new cast of characters that are suddenly going to be on the national stage. They're people that we won't know nationally, but that people have known within their states, and now, as governors, you're going to start seeing them a lot. It's people like Susana Martinez in New Mexico. Out in South Carolina, you've got Nikki Haley, who's the new governor there. Up in Michigan, you've got Rick Snyder, who portrayed himself as one tough nerd as he was running for governor of Michigan. Got Scott Walker in Wisconsin. These are all faces we're likely to see again.
Kate Zernike, you're an expert on the Tea Party. You've written on it. It was a big night for the Tea Party.
It was. I mean, look, and I think everyone's focused on the Senate, where, of course, Sharon Angle lost in Nevada, which is a race the Republicans dearly wanted to win. And there is an argument that had they not had a Tea Party candidate there, Republicans might have won that seat. But in the House, what's really striking is the number of Tea Party candidates who have succeeded or are winning in very, very close districts where we don't have results yet. And they're succeeding despite Democrats saying they're too extreme for the districts. They're succeeding despite allegations of personal scandal. It's really remarkable, and I think it's a measure of the frustration that voters were feeling.
What happens now that they're in power?
Republicans are going to have, obviously, to work with the Tea Party. I think the bigger difficulty is going to be on some of their agenda items. Rand Paul is talking about balancing the budget within a year.
Right.
He's not willing to say, let's see if we can do this over 10 years. Balancing the budget within the year is next to impossible without cutting, if not eliminating, Social Security, Medicare, and military spending. So it's going to prompt some really, really tough questions and tough discussions.
How much influence do we think these Tea Party members are going to have within the Republican caucus?
Well, within the Republican caucus, look, the Tea Party caucus within that is still pretty small, and the risk is that the Tea Party people don't compromise, they risk becoming outliers, and that's not what this movement is all about. They want to be there at the center of the action. They want to be pushing the agenda. But I think there's another question about where they have an impact with the Republican Party. I think every presidential contender or every person with an eye on the presidency is now thinking this morning, how do I unleash this Tea Party energy and make it work for me?
Join us again tomorrow for TimesCast.